A very warm good morning to one and all. So, how are you, children? I hope you all are fit and fine at home. And I also hope that you all are watching these videos regularly, right? Okay, so without any further delay, let's start today's session. So, in this session, we are going to start Geography new chapter. As you all know, children, in Geography, we have two chapters already. First one is Environment, second one is Inside Our Earth. So in this tutorial we are going to start Geography third chapter, Our Changing Earth, and this is part 1. Now this topic we will cover in this video, in this chapter. First we understand the concept of tectonic plate. Second, we will discuss endogenic force, volcanoes, earthquakes, tsunami, and at last we will discuss exogenic force. So in this video we will only discuss about the tectonic plates and endogenic forces. Exogenic forces we will discuss in next video. Okay, now let's start. Just look at this world map, children. You will probably observe that all these continents, the shape of these continents are very familiar pattern. Like how basically the eastern coast of South America can easily fit into the western coast of Africa, right? Similarly, Australia can easily fit into the Indian landmass in this gap, which is now filled by the Bay of Bengal, right? Now what seems to emerge is that means all earlier continents were clustered together as a supercontinent, which is known as Pangaea. The earlier continent were clustered together as a supercontinent, which is known as Pangaea. Now this Pangaea word basically is a Greek word which means all earth, right? Pangaea means all earth. Now this Pangaea or supercontinents is broken into the number of land masses. So first this supercontinents is broken into the two large land masses. First one is the Laurasia and second one is the Gondwana land. So due to the movement of tectonic plates, right? Now this Pangaea and supercontinent broken into the two land masses, Laurasia and Gondwana land, due to the movement of tectonic plates. Now this continent, Laurasia and Gondwana land, further broken into the land masses, same due to the movement of the tectonic plates. Right. Now this theory of Pangaea, the theory of Pangaea was firstly proposed by the Alfred Wegener, right? The theory of Pangaea firstly proposed by the Alfred Wegener. Now Alfred Wegener basically was an American meteorologist and he proposed this theory in 1915. Right. So the theory of Pangaea was proposed by the Alfred Wegener in 1950. So basically all these 7 continents which exist now have come into their present shapes over the millions of years as shown in this figure. Right. Now let's understand the concept of tectonic plate. So basically tectonic plate, the earth crust or the crust of the earth. So basically, as you all know, what is crust? We already discussed in previous chapter. So it is the uppermost layer of the earth. So the crust of the earth is broken into the number of plates, right? The crust of earth is broken into the number of plates and these plates are called the tectonic plates, right? The crust of the earth, that means the uppermost layer of the earth, is broken into the number of plates and these plates are called the tectonic plates. Now these tectonic plates, basically there are 7 major tectonic plates and some are the minor plates. Now these tectonic plates, 7 major plates all these plates basically move very slowly, just a few millimeter every year. Right now these plates move very slowly. This is because the movement of molten magma inside the earth into a circular manner. That's why these plates are also moving. Why? Because the molten magma which is present inside the earth is also moved into a circular manner, right? So the movement of these plates are called the tectonic movement, and which causes changes on the earth's surface. Now basically on the basis of forces which cause them these movement basically. So on the basis of forces, these movements are divided into two. First one is the endogenic forces and second one is the exogenic forces. So on the basis of forces, earth movement is divided into two. First one is the endogenic force and second one is the exogenic force. Okay, now let's understand first endogenic forces. So first of all, endo means inside, right? Endo means inside and genic means origin, right? Endo means inside and genic means origin. So basically the work originate or act inside the earth is called the endogenic force. The forces which act in the interior of the earth are called as endogenic force. Now these forces leading earthquake, volcanoes and landslides. Now endogenic forces, that means the forces act inside the earth and leading earthquakes, volcanoes and landslides, right? Okay, now the next one is the exogenic force. So exo means outside and genic means origin. That means the forces that work on the surface of the earth and their effect can be seen in the form of erosional and depositional features of wind, water and ice. So endogenic forces that act inside the earth and exogenic forces that work on the earth surface, and their effects can be seen in the form of erosional and depositional form. Is it clear? Okay. Now let's start. First understand endogenic forces. Endogenic or the endogenous forces. So basically, as I said, like endogenic forces that act inside the earth and leading earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes and change in the earth landscape. Now the movement of these tectonic plates, right? So the movement of these tectonic plates can be either slow or sudden. Now the slow movement basically it caused the formation of buildings, right? Slow movement of the tectonic plates or the lithospheric plates result in the formation of the mountains, but the sudden movement resulting or causing earthquake, tsunamis and volcanoes, right? But the thing is, if they occur like tsunami, earthquake and a volcano, if they occur, they definitely cause large scale destruction of life forms and properties. Okay, so basically all these are the examples of the endogenic force: earthquake, tsunami, volcanoes, because all these originate inside the earth. So all these causes inside the earth. So these are the example of endogenic force. Now let's understand one by one. Now first we understand about the volcanoes. Now just tell me children, what is volcano? Okay, so volcano is an opening in the earth crust through which the molten magma or lava erupt suddenly through this central vent. This is the central vent through which the molten magma erupt suddenly. Now this lava accumulated around the vent into the conical hill or mountain with the funnel shaped at the top, which is known as crater. Now as eruption takes place, so the erupted material accumulated around the crater and they just form a conical hill or mountain known as volcanic cone. Now these volcanic eruption can either explosive or quiet. So the explosive eruptions occur through this narrow vent, right? And they just form a conical hill or mountain shape. But the quiet eruption, volcanic eruption, resulting the formation of plateaus. Like for example, Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau is an example of the quiet volcanic eruption, right? Okay. Now let's understand types of volcanoes. So basically depending upon the frequency of the eruption, as I said, like eruptions can either be explosive or the quiet. So depending upon the frequency of eruption, the volcanoes can be classified into three. First one is the active volcanoes. Second one is the dormant volcanoes, and the third one is the extinct volcanoes. Okay, now let's understand first active volcanoes. Active volcanoes are those volcanoes which have erupted frequently in the recent past, right, and have possibility for the further eruption at any time. That's why these volcanoes are called the active volcanoes. These volcanoes erupted at any time. Now, example, Mount Etna in Italy is an example of active volcanoes, right? Mount Etna, it is in Italy, is an example of the active volcanoes. Second one is the dormant volcanoes. Now, certain volcanoes which have not erupted for a long years, right? Now, these volcanoes are also called sleeping volcanoes. As I said, these volcanoes which have not erupted for a long years. So that's why these volcanoes are also called sleeping volcanoes. For example, Mount Vesuvius is an example. It is in Italy and it is an example of dormant volcanoes. So dormant volcanoes means certain volcanoes which have not erupted for a long years. That's why it is also known as sleeping volcanoes. Now the third one is the extinct volcanoes. Extinct volcanoes, that means certain volcanoes which have not erupted several thousand of years, and there is no further possibility of eruption in future, right? That's why these extinct volcano is also known as dead volcanoes, right? Because there is no further possibility of eruption in future. That's why it is also called dead volcanoes. Now example, Mount Kilimanjaro. It is in East Africa, and it is an example of extinct volcano. So basically there are three types of volcanoes depending upon the frequency of the eruption. Active volcanoes, second one is the dormant volcanoes, and third one is the extinct volcanoes. Active volcanoes, example Mount Etna, it is in Italy. Dormant volcanoes, example Mount Vesuvius, right? And extinct volcano example Mount Kilimanjaro. Okay, now next, what is earthquake? So basically earthquake is a sudden vibration caused by the movement of lithospheric plate or the tectonic plate. Remember tectonic plate? Basically when these tectonic plates or two tectonic plates collide with each other, so we felt vibration on the earth's surface. So the sudden vibration caused by the movement of tectonic plates are called the earthquake. Now these sudden vibration are called the seismic waves, right? These sudden vibration are called the seismic waves, and these waves travel over the areas. Now what causes earthquake? So as I said, sudden movement of tectonic plate. Earth surface is subjected to endogenic forces occurring from beneath the earth's surface, and this force makes the plates move at very slow speed. However, a sudden movement of these tectonic plates trigger an earthquake. So as I said, when the sudden movement of tectonic plates, or when the two tectonic plates collide with each other, that trigger an earthquake. Okay. Now, how the earthquakes are formed? Basically, there are two centers. First, we understand the term focus and the epicenter. Focus basically the point where the earthquake originate. Now, this point basically is inside the earth. The point where the earthquake originate inside the earth, that point is called the focus, right? And the epicenter basically the point on the earth's surface, right? On the earth surface, just above the focus. So basically this is the focus point inside the earth, and just above the focus on the earth surface, this point is called epicenter. Now the vibrations travel outwards from the epicenter as waves in all directions that cause large scale destruction. So the scale of damage caused by the earthquake depend on first intensity of the earthquake, second nature of the region or topography, and third one is the human structure or quality, etc., etc. So the damage can be less or more. It depends on the many factors, right? It depends on the many factors, but the large scale destruction caused nearly the epicenter. Just remember that the large scale destruction caused nearly the epicenter. Okay. So basically, first one is, this is the seismograph. Seismograph, basically the earthquake tremors are recorded by an instrument. It's called seismograph, right? It's record the tremor caused by the earthquake, and its magnitude and intensity is measured on the Richter scale. This is Richter scale. So intensity, and this instrument basically is used to measure the intensity of the earthquake. So basically Richter scale was designed by an American seismologist, Charles Richter. His name is Charles Richter. He designed this device, and this is used to measure the intensity of the earthquake. Is it clear? Seismograph, basically the earth movement or the earth tremors are recorded by this instrument, seismograph, right? And Richter scale, basically this is used to measure the intensity of the earthquake. Okay, now the next one is the earthquake preparedness. So basically, okay children, as you know that like earthquake which measure on 7 or more, basically on the Richter scales of highly intensity, and which cause large scale destruction. So although earthquake cannot be predicted accurately, but their impact can be minimized by adapting certain preventive measures, right? So earthquake preparedness, like where you have to take shelter during earthquake. Like for example, first one is safe spot, like under a kitchen counter, and any hard object like table or desk. You can also stand in the corner. Second thing is stay away from, during like earthquake you have to stay away from like fireplaces, area around chimneys and windows that shelters, including mirrors or the picture frames. And the third one is be prepared. It is very important to spread awareness among your friends, your family, your relatives, and always ready to face this kind of disaster confidently, right? Okay, now the next one is tsunami. So uh, it is also an example of the endogenic force. Now, what is tsunami? Like when the epicenter of the earthquake is in the seabed. Understand na epicenter? So when the epicenter of earthquake is in the seabed, so it cause huge tidal waves, right, which could have devastating effect on the seashores, and such phenomena is known as tsunami. Clear? Okay, now at last let's take a quick recap what we have discussed in this video. Endogenic or its endogenous force. So basically endogenic or endogenous force, it occurs beneath the surface of the earth, that means inside the earth, and it causes natural devastation and physical change in the earth's surface, like the earthquake, volcanoes, formation of mountains or valleys, right? I hope all these topics are cleared. Okay, now quiz time. So the first question is, the plates forming earth crust are called. Now the options are, first one is layers, second is the lava sheet, and the third one is the lithospheric plates or tectonic plates. So the plates forming earth crust are called, answer is C, lithospheric plates. Is it clear? Lithospheric, that means tectonic plates. Now the second question, the force causing tectonic movements on the earth surface is called, right? Now the options are, first one is the exogenic force, second option is endogenic force, and third one is the lava movement. So the force that causing tectonic movement on the earth surface, which force act? It's exogenic, that means the A option, exogenic force. Exogenic force that work on the earth's surface, and their impact can be seen in the form of the erosional and depositional, like deposition of wind, water and ice. Now third question, Mount Vesuvius. Mount Vesuvius is an example of which type of volcanoes? So in this video we discussed there are three types of volcanoes. First one is the active, dormant and extinct, right? So Mount Vesuvius is an example of which type of volcano? So options are, first one is the active, second one is the dormant, and third one is the extinct. So Mount Vesuvius is an example of dormant, right? Mount Vesuvius is in Italy and is an example of dormant volcano. Now the fourth question is, earthquakes are caused due to the dash, right? Now the options are, first option, movement of tectonic plates, second option, volcanic eruption, and the third one is tsunami. Now just tell me, the earthquakes are caused due to the movement of tectonic plates, right? The answer is A, movement of tectonic plates. Now fifth question, volcanoes which do not have the possibility of eruption, are called. Now the options are dormant, active and extinct. Now which volcano do not have erupted, or there is no possibility of eruption? Now the answer is extinct. That's why these volcanoes are also called dead volcanoes, because there is no further possibility of eruption in future. Now the sixth one is, in an earthquake the maximum damage is always near the dash. In an earthquake the maximum damage is always near the earth. Options are focus, epicenter and delta, right? So the maximum damage always near the epicenter. So basically focus, the point where the earthquake originates inside the earth, and epicenter, the point on the earth's surface just above the focus. Is it clear? Okay. Now the next topic, exogenic force, we will discuss in next video, right? Thank you and have a nice day, students.